What is sexual tension? By now, you might already know that it's the tension between the masculine and feminine poles. It's the urge to get sexual that you and a woman feel for each other. Unless you know how to trigger sexual tension, you'll never have the success you want with women. That's just how it is. If you've been following my guides for a while, then you're probably a Shogun by now, and you might already know how to trigger sexual tension using Shogun Sequences. That's Sexual Tension 101. While the ability to trigger it with women is a superb skill to have, you shouldn't stay at that level. Why not? As great as it is, it has a hidden drawback. Few men know about this, but true shoguns do. And, like them, you should advance to Sexual Tension 102. This is where you trigger sexual tension by your personality, not your techniques. Imagine that for a moment. Wherever you go, whatever you do, you trigger sexual tension with the women you meet, even if you don't mean to. That's the power of Sexual Tension 102, and that's what this guide will introduce you to. Ready? Good, because we'll start where everything begins. And it all begins with the hidden weakness. What's the hidden weakness? It's this. When using techniques to trigger sexual tension, you can become so good you start relying on them. In a sense, you've become an active seducer. And most men, even shoguns, start off as such, using techniques and routines as a crutch. Here's the problem though. Stay an active seducer long enough, and everything appears orchestrated. You'll be following a routine, and women will start sniffing you out. Why is that a bad thing? Well, have you ever been with a salesman who was obviously following a script? He might have even had a rehearsed, robotic reply to every objection you had. How did that make you feel? Used? Insulted? Taken for a fool? Guess what? That's how women feel when you stay an active seducer too long. And don't be surprised when your string of successes comes to an abrupt stop. That's the hidden weakness of Sexual Tension 101. It can be a trap. While relying on techniques is a good and necessary first step, you shouldn't stay at that level. Instead, you need to evolve. You want to grow from being a technique user to a natural sexual tension trigger wherever you go. Picture that for a second. You go about your day just being yourself, and yet the women you meet randomly feel the urge to get all romantic and sexual with you. That's what your life will be like when you can trigger sexual tension just through your personality. And that leads us to the obvious question. How exactly do you do that? With a little trick I like to call jerk game. That's how. Jerk game is Sexual Tension 102, and it will knock your seduction abilities up a notch. But before I tell you about it, do take a moment to click the like button if you haven't already. It's just a quick 2 seconds of your time, and yet you'll help my channel grow in the years to come. So please take those 2 seconds now, click the like button, and we'll move right on with the jerk game. Done? Awesome. Thanks. Let's continue. So, what exactly is jerk game? Think of it this way. When you meet a woman, she'll ultimately slot you into one of two categories. You're either a nice guy or a jerk. Most of the men in any woman's life are nice guys. They're her coworkers, friends, and admirers she has zero sexual interest in. In other words, nice guys are men who add some sort of value to her life, just not the romantic or sexual kind. Meanwhile, a few men in her life are jerks. These are the bad boys she's attracted to, her ex-boyfriends, and the male friends she has crushes on. And guess what? These are the men she feels sexual tension with, even if they don't mean to trigger it. Now, here's the question. Which of these two categories do you think is more successful with women? Nice guys or jerks? Without a doubt, it's the jerks who are happier and more successful in the dating game. After all, we see the evidence all the time, right? Your female friend complains to you about her idiot ex-boyfriend, and yet she hooks up with him again within a week. Or no matter how nice, supportive, and caring you are towards her, she only loves you as a friend. And, of course, there's the saying that never dies, because it's always true. Nice guys finish last. Now, let me get one thing straight. By the word jerk, I don't mean you should be selfish and manipulative. I'm not telling you to make promises you can't keep just so you can bed her that night. That's just fucked up, and I don't agree with it. Instead, you want to be the jerk who loves her. This is the essence of jerk game. You love her, but you can live without her. She's not your priority. She's number 2. And if she supports your priority, whether it's your career, business, or mission, she's welcome to enjoy the ride. That's the kind of jerk you want to be. If you'll notice, it's a stark contrast to the stereotypical nice guy. For him, she's his number 1 priority, and that's why he grows insecure, needy, and desperate for her love and approval. And meanwhile, she grows more and more frustrated at his utter lack of confidence. So, make no mistake, you must be a jerk who loves her, and that's what Jerk Game will do for you. Now, before I tell you exactly how to use Jerk Game, I need a quick favor. If you got something out of this guide so far, then consider subscribing to my channel. I'm on a mission to reach men like you and help them win a dating game that's unfairly stacked against us. If you'd like to help me, then be a part of my community. Just tap subscribe and remember to hit the bell icon for notifications. Go ahead, do it now. We'll wrap up this guide after you do. Are you in? Great. Welcome to the Brotherhood. Now, here's how Jerk Game works. The key is that, in every situation with a woman, you do the exact opposite of what a nice guy would do. For instance, if you're at a bar with her and she asks you to buy her a drink, what would you say? A nice guy would buy her a drink. So, that's precisely what you should avoid doing. Instead, you can be a light jerk and say, "No, you buy me a drink," with a smile. Or you can go a bit higher and be a moderate jerk and whisper to her, "Do me right tonight, or else." Or, if you want to go all the way, be a heavy jerk and tell her, "Sorry, I didn't know you were a slut." Shocking? You'll soon see why this works. Meanwhile, here's another example. Let's say your female friend confesses her feelings for you. What do? The nice thing to do would be to say, "I love you too." And yup, you avoid doing that. Instead, you can do the light jerk thing and say, "Well, that's nice." Or you can say, "I know," like the moderate jerk Han Solo was. And you have the option of being a heavy jerk and take her straight to a hotel room. See what I mean? The key is to do the exact opposite of what a nice guy would do. The secret is in the calibration. If you're too much of a jerk, dial it back. And if you're too little of one, ramp it up. So how do you know just how jerky you need to be? Simple. Observe her reactions. Does she look discouraged? Is she disqualifying herself, saying stuff like, "I'm not that type of girl"? If so, then you're being too much of a jerk. Dial it back. Say, "I'm just kidding," and be nicer until she shows interest again. On the flip side, if she laughs at your jerkiness or calls it cute, you're being too easy on her. Ramp it up and be more of a jerk until you feel you've hooked her. The reaction you want to see is annoyed attraction. It's like she's saying, with or without words, "I hate you. Now take me somewhere private." When you get that reaction, that's when you know you've passed Sexual Tension 102. And that, my friend, is how you seduce women with nothing but the sheer force of your personality. Now, you might wonder, but Fredo, what if I don't want to be a jerk? Can't I have my usual kind, smart, guy-next-door personality and still seduce women? Well, sure, but you'll risk being slotted into the nice guy territory right from the get-go. That said, I understand if you're hesitant to try Jerk Game. If that sounds like you, then here's what I suggest instead. Master the Fractionation technique. What's that about, you ask? Fractionation is a lot like Jerk Game in the sense that it's passive. It's a conversational technique you use with women. You're having chats with them, and everything seems normal. Except you can see the ladies steadily getting more and more emotionally addicted to you. Would you like that ability? You're the same guy, with the same personality, with a slightly different way of speaking to women, and yet you're 10 times more seductive than you've ever been. Do you want that kind of power? Then I suggest you join Shogun Method's online masterclass on fractionation. To join, simply click the link you're about to see on your screen. Type your best email address in the form that pops up, and wait for your invite ticket to arrive at your inbox. Soon, you'll be off to learn what just might be the most important life and love skill you'll ever master. Are you ready? Then go ahead, click the link and join the online masterclass on fractionation. You can also find the link inside the comments area below. Good luck, and I'll see you at the masterclass.